Across Israel and the Gaza Strip, people poured into the streets, celebrating a pause in the pain and daring to believe peace may finally be possible. Joining us now is Washington correspondent, NBC Washington correspondent Alice Barr. Alice, major developments toward a ceasefire here, and it's still developing. Can you catch us up at this particular hour?
Yeah, there's a lot happening, and certainly this is news that so many people have been waiting for so long. President Trump said he may travel to the Middle East as soon as this weekend. Peace talks have been ongoing in Egypt, and now there is word of a Phase 1 deal to free the remaining hostages from Hamas captivity in Gaza, pause the fighting, and see Israel withdraw its troops to what President Trump called an agreed-upon line. He spoke overnight on Fox News about a conversation with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, saying that he told him that Israel cannot fight the world. He said he understands that, and that it's amazing how this has now all come together. It is not fully together, though, until the Israeli cabinet votes to approve the peace deal. That is expected to happen today. This is a deal President Trump advanced. Approval would trigger the pullback of Israeli forces, with hostages expected to be released on Monday, according to a senior White House official. Family members of the hostages have been sharing their gratitude to President Trump, their determination to bring all 48 home. 20 of the hostages are believed to still be alive and would be the first returned in exchange for Palestinian prisoners and desperately needed aid into Gaza. Again, just the first phase so far agreed to.
Gotcha. All right. Part of the drama at the White House came with how President Trump found out. Describe for us that moment.
It was really remarkable. He was at an event with a number of members of his cabinet, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio handed a note over to him. Pictures of that note were captured by pool cameras at the Associated Press, and you got to see up close that it said, "We need you to approve a Truth Social post because we're very close to an agreement in the Middle East and want you to be the one to announce it," essentially. So then President Trump did pause right there and say, "I was just given a note by the Secretary of State that we're very close to a deal." The secretary leaned in and whispered to President Trump. It was very reminiscent for a lot of people of the moment that President Bush learned about 9/11. This, of course, was much better news, and people holding their breath that it does hold.
All right. Yeah. Wow. This was a big development. There's still much that lies ahead. What should be the next steps we're watching for?
Very important to be clear about that. First of all, this needs to still be agreed to. The Israeli cabinet needs to go ahead. There are hard right members that have said they're going to oppose it, but the belief is that this first phase will be formally agreed to. That would then mean that that drawdown of troops would begin, the pullback of troops would begin, and allow the hostages, over the next several days to be coming home. But beyond that point, this is a 20-point peace plan that President Trump put forward that ultimately seeks a final end to almost 2 years to the day of this devastating war in Gaza. And the rest of the deal is far trickier, especially a requirement for Hamas to disarm and leave power in Gaza. That has pretty much always been the sticking point, and Hamas has not really said yet that they're willing to go along with that. So that remains. And then, of course, there's determining a future for Gaza, which lies in ruins. A French diplomatic source tells NBC News France is going to hold a conference in Paris today on Gaza's future. It's not entirely clear if there will be U.S. representatives there, but President Trump said on Fox News last night that Gaza will be rebuilt. He referenced a council of peace involving other countries in the region helping to rebuild, and he said that Gaza will be a much safer place. Not clear, though, how that would look. Chesley.
Right. Alice Barr, thanks so much for joining us today. Have a great week.